Hello, my name is Nitai. Today I am going to show you how I motorized the LEGO Technic Lamborghini Sia FKP 37 using 2 L motors, 1 servo motor, 1 pair of lights, and 1 Buwizz. As you all might have recently seen, I have motorized my LEGO Technic Bugatti Chiron with 1 L motor. I tried the same thing over here. The only problem was it wasn't able to turn because the force was slanted. Then I switched this L motor to this position here. It still wasn't able to turn. So then I connected both of them here and then straight to the differential. When I put the L motors, there was actually enough space. The only thing I had to remove was one piece here that connected on these 2 studs. So I just pulled that out. And then I put this motor connecting to this black piece and then a 3-axle from this motor to the black gear. Then I also replaced this 4-axle of the differential with a 7-axle so that the side gear could connect to this black gear. Then I put a second motor here connecting to that 7-axle. Now I'm going to show you how I stabilize the motors. So first let's talk about this motor. First I connected these 2 pieces with black clips and connected them straight to the motor. Now you might be wondering why this orange one is a little long. The reason is because the axle of this gray gear was blocking this area, so I had to move it. And the place I connected these 2 black clips was this 13 beam. The second thing I did is that I had to remove this black piece here because it was blocking the motor. And these pieces I kept them because they just connected into the motor holes like this. I'll show you a picture of it now. This is the way I connected them. As you see, these pieces just slide into this axle and they connect right to the motor. Now I will show you how I stabilized the second motor. The first thing I did was that to this black piece I connected these. This clip end connected to the motor and the axle end connected to the black piece. Everything else was easy because this motor would just squeeze here underneath this axle. Now I will give you a quick demonstration of how the motors move the wheels. Before we move on, I just wanted to point it out that the way I connected the spoiler was by using 2 of these and replaced them with 5 axles. They connect into the same holes into the 5 axles just like this. Also, another thing is that I connected 2 8-inch extension cables to the L motors because they were not long enough, the wires of them were not long enough to connect to the boom. I will show you how I installed the servo motor. So the first thing I did is that there was a 4-axle connecting to those 2 gears. I replaced that with the 5 so that it can go 1 stud longer. The second thing I did is that I put these 2 white pieces and connected them with long pins so that they can connect into that red piece. I stabilized the red piece with the 7-axle and the 6-axle on both sides. Now another thing I did is that I put 2 long push pins on both sides of that. The last thing I did is that I replaced a piece here with an 11 beam so that these push pins will be able to stand. The way I connected the servo to the Buoys is that I had an 8-inch extension cable that's connected to this because the servo motor wire was not long enough to connect. Before we move on, I just wanted to point out that I removed a plate piece here since the servo was too long and replaced it with these pieces. Now I will show you how I connected the lights. The good news is that the light wire is so long that it can connect to the buoys and all the way out here. The way I placed the brick was that it goes there right next to these gears. In the next part of my video, I will show you how it works, how the lights are fitted into the assembly of the front. Now I will show you how I connected the lights. So the first thing I did is that from the brick, this wire, I put this piece here so that it does not touch the gear. Then I brought it under this square thing and then underneath this shell. Then I just connected it onto this piece and move this one stud piece over here so that the light can shine. The same thing is on the other side. Lastly, I want to show you how the Buwizz is fit. So first, I'll tell you the ports. Port 3 and 4 are the two L motors. Port 2 is the servo and port 1 is the lights. Now, the way I put it is that I pushed this lever of the spoiler all the way down since it was not being used. So then I just rested the Buwizz, and then all these wires, they made it very stable. Now I'm going to show you how all the modes in the Buwizz run this car. Let's start with slow. Normal. Fast. And finally, ludicrous. Steering also works. And so do the lights. In the next part of my video, I'm going to show you how it runs on the floor. Let's start with slow. Normal. Don't mind the cracking noise, that's just the gear transmission of the second L motor. Fast. And finally, ludicrous. As you can see, the lights also work. In the final part of my video, I am going to show you how the lights work in the dark with the car driving on ludicrous.